Hey there, and welcome. Everything you see around you, the screen you're watching this on, the chair you're sitting in, it's all made of something. But have you ever just stopped to think about what that something really is and where does it all come from? Well, in this explainer, we're going to break down the very stuff of our world.
Seriously, go ahead, take a second and just look around the room. You've got a desk, maybe a cup, a window. Each one of those is an object. But the wood, the ceramic, the glass, those are the materials. And understanding that little difference is the key to everything we're talking about today.
It's a really simple, but honestly a powerful distinction to make. The chair you see? That's the object, the finished product. But the wood or the metal it's made from? That's the material, the raw ingredient. Getting this idea down is really the first big step to understanding how our entire world is built.
So here's our game plan. We'll start with all the common materials in our everyday lives. Then we're going to dig deep, literally, into the Earth's original building block, rock. And then we'll bring it all back home to see how these amazing materials shape the world we live in.
Okay, so let's start with the familiar stuff, the building blocks we see and touch and use every single day. I'm talking about the materials that quite literally construct our modern lives. What's so cool is how each material is chosen for a specific job, all based on its unique properties, right? We need our windows to be see-through and hard, so we use glass. We need tires to be flexible, tough, and stretchy, so we use rubber. You wouldn't build a house out of paper for the exact same reason you wouldn't make a shirt out of metal. In the world of materials, property always dictates purpose.
All right, now we're going to go a little deeper. Long before we had plastic or paper, way before we even had metal tools, we had rock. It's the literal foundation of our planet. And believe me, it's way more fascinating than you might think.
So, what even is a rock? Well, to put it simply, it's the solid stuff that makes up the Earth's crust. And the scientists who study it, they're called geologists. They can literally read the story of our planet in its layers. It's pretty amazing. So when a geologist finds a rock, they act like a detective, looking for clues. The color tells them what kind of minerals are inside, sort of like its chemical ingredients. Hardness is a huge clue. If you rub two rocks together, the softer one's going to get scratched. And of course, they feel it to figure out its texture.
Texture really just comes down to the size of the grains. A smooth river stone, that's fine-grained. But a rough piece of granite, that's coarse-grained. And this isn't just about how it feels, it's a critical clue that tells a geologist how quickly that rock cooled down from molten lava millions of years ago.
But here's the thing. The most important way to classify rocks isn't by what they look or feel like. Nope, it's by their origin story, the incredible, powerful, and sometimes violent way they came to be. This gets to a really core idea in geology. Rocks are not just static. They are constantly being formed, broken down, and reformed in this giant process called the rock cycle. So every single rock you see is just at one stage of a massive planet-wide journey.
Okay, here's a handy cheat sheet for the three main rock families. You've got sedimentary, metamorphic, and igneous. Notice they're not defined by what they look like, but by how they were born. From tiny particles pressed together, to rocks totally transformed by heat, to ones literally born from fire. Let's dive into each of their stories.
First up, sedimentary rocks. Just imagine sand, shells, and tiny bits of other rocks all washing into a lake or an ocean. Over millions and millions of years, layer after layer builds up, and the incredible pressure from all that weight fuses it together into solid rock. And that's how you get a sedimentary rock.
And this layering process is exactly why sedimentary rocks are so special. They can trap and preserve the remains of ancient plants and animals as fossils. They are basically history books written in stone, giving us a direct window into life millions of years ago.
Next up, we've got metamorphic rocks. The name kind of gives it away, right? Meta means change, and morph means form. These are rocks that actually started out as something else, maybe sedimentary, maybe igneous, but they got buried deep in the earth and were subjected to unbelievable heat and pressure. This completely transformed them into something new, often with these beautiful ribbon-like layers or sparkly crystals.
And our third family, igneous rocks, are born from fire. Their story begins as magma, which is just molten rock deep inside the earth. When this magma cools and hardens either slowly underground or very quickly after erupting from a volcano as lava, it becomes an igneous rock. And what's just fascinating is that the speed of the cooling changes everything. When magma cools super slowly, deep underground, these large crystals have time to grow,
giving us that speckled, coarse-grained pattern of granite. But when lava erupts and cools almost instantly, crystals have no time to form, and that's how you get a smooth, classy rock like obsidian.
So now, let's bring all this back home. How do these incredible geological stories actually connect to the world we've built? Why does any of this matter in our daily lives?
Because these rocks aren't just specimens you find in a museum. Their unique properties, their hardness, their texture, their beauty, all born from their origin story, make them absolutely essential building materials. From the roads we drive on to the buildings we live in, we are literally surrounded by geology.
And this is where it all connects. Remember granite? With those large interlocking crystals from cooling so slowly? That structure makes it incredibly hard and durable, perfect for a kitchen counter that needs to resist scratches. And the beautiful, ribbon-like layers in marble, formed by intense pressure transforming limestone, that makes it a stunning material for tiles and statues. We choose specific rocks for specific jobs based entirely on their origin story. It all comes full circle.
So we'll end with this thought. For thousands of years, human history has been defined by the dominant material of the era. We've gone from the Stone Age to the Bronze Age to the Iron Age, and now plastics. As we look to the future and face brand new challenges, you have to wonder, what's going to be the defining material of the next age?